our staff and most importantly him that, he's not at any further risk of damaging that shoulder any more now than he was before the injury. So it's a pain tolerance deal while the thing heals, and it is healing. Obviously, you continue to play on it and get it banged around. It's going to take a little bit longer, but he's gotten through it, and we appreciate him doing that because we do need him to win. And but you're right. I think now when it comes down to winning or losing the game, he also did rush for the two go-ahead touchdowns there in the fourth quarter for us against Cincinnati. So we'll try to be as smart as we can, but he knows that if we need him, and he'll be ready.
It's interesting watching that Cincinnati game because I think a lot of people figured you guys were the superior team, but Cincinnati seemingly got up and played for you guys, played against you guys like you were ranked where you are ranked. And I don't think that perception existed before the season. Are you starting to see that? You guys now have a target on you as someone that opposing teams put on their calendar as we have to go after Houston because of where they've ascended to over the last 2 years.
Yeah, and it's something we're getting used to as a team. That was a really good example of it Thursday night. That was a sellout crowd, blackout. They had the thunder sticks. I think they had like 35,000 thunder sticks in the stadium, and and that's a talented football team. Arguably, one of the top 2 or 3 talent based teams in our conference, and so they were rocking. And our guys, we've been used to the last couple of years, kind of the chip on our shoulder, disrespect, nobody respects you, the whole nine. And I think, we played that card pretty well against Oklahoma. But, when you go 5-0 against top 25 opponents and you end your season with a win against number 8 Florida State and you start your season with a win against number 3 Oklahoma, you ain't sneaking up on anybody anymore. and You're going to get everybody's best shot, and it's their Super Bowl. And so our guys, they're learning how to deal with that, and I think it was a bit of a coming-of-age process for them there in Cincinnati.
There you go. Talking to Tom Herman, head coach of the Cougars, 3 games, 3 wins. You heard the start against the Sooners, and just really, I thought it was really one-sided, that game, too, which I thought you'd win. I thought the one-sided nature, at least the way I saw it, surprised me a little. But I'm curious here, Tom. You're at a point now where, even though it's early in your tenure at Houston, you are obviously swimming with the big boys. And I know it's not baseball. We use the term in baseball, scoreboard watching. But with the new playoff format, do you find yourself peeking around like I know you're playing at night this Saturday, Wisconsin, Michigan State, a couple of undefeated teams. That's a big one that could impact you at some point. Florida, Tennessee, same deal. How much do you, on your game day, how much are you checking out the other games, even if it's on your phone with scores?
I do, just as a college football fan, but certainly not because of its impact on us. I've been asked about the playoffs, and, my take has been this. We're never going to talk about it as it relates to our program. Our goal is to win the American Conference each and every year, and that conference has separated itself such from the other non-Power 5 conferences that if you win the American Conference, you're going to a New Year's Six bowl game, which is pretty cool. And so, and then my take is, if there was a team that went undefeated in the American Conference that beat the preseason number 3 team at a neutral site, and that team then went on to finish first or second in the Big 12, and then beat a top 5 ACC team at home on a Thursday night late in the year, and that team doesn't go to the playoff, then the playoff system's broke.
Yeah.
And we need to fix it and blow it up and start from scratch.
Yeah, you know how it works with the whole Power 5 thing. And you guys currently are not a Power 5, but the news that's been floating around is that the University of Houston Athletics wants to be in the Big 12. Do you think it helps? Well, first of all, is that accurate? Is this something that you guys desire as a program? And then I think more importantly, does it help or hurt you with the success that you're having? Because you guys are turning into a little bit of a dominant program.
Yeah, I believe it's something that, our administration, is actively pursuing. and whether it helps or hurts us, I think those decisions are made by presidents. They're made by boards of regents, and they're not asking athletic directors and football coaches. I think if you left it up to the football coaches, absolutely, we wouldn't have a chance in heck, to get in the Big 12 because we're already, beating some of those teams on recruits here in our great city of Houston, and we're the hometown college football team of the third biggest city in America, and there's really good high school football, and it's the eighth largest TV market. So certainly, if you're an athletic director or a football coach, that probably worries you a little bit. But I think the strength of any conference is in competitive balance, and I think anytime you can add a competitive program to your conference, you're going to better it.
And Tom Herman of the Cougars with us here on Tiki and Tiereny, CBS Sports Radio.
Tom, when you first took this job and you left Ohio State, some people looked at it as a stepping stone. You're going to be there for a little bit. Maybe you bring some success. Then you're going to go elsewhere to a bigger program, maybe even a Big Five program. But now, as you look at what you've done, and I don't know, maybe I'm viewing it wrong because I'm 30,000 feet and I'm outside of it. It's almost like you're building something that can be your legacy. Do you look at it that way? And if opportunities start getting thrown at you, as I'm sure they will.
They already have?
Yeah. You turn it down simply because you're building something special.
Yeah, I don't know that you look at it in terms of my legacy. I mean, there's so many hands that go into the day-to-day operation of this and the success of our program. So, but no, you're right in terms of building something. I think that's important, and it feels good to know how far we've come in just a short 20 months from a recognition standpoint, from from the city of Houston really truly embracing us, to the facility upgrades and the resources that our administration has poured into our program. Yeah, I mean, and they're quite frankly, they're paying myself and our assistants, Power 5 money. And so, when you talk about quality of life and winning football games and winning championships and going to New Year's Six bowl games, this is a pretty, pretty nice place to do it at.
Yeah. I understand, it's I don't want to say it's a tough spot. It's because I think it's an enviable spot to be in if I'm Tom Herman, because the phone's going to ring. And I think Teak would probably test this as well. I'd really like playing for Tom Herman, but Teak, I think I'd rather work for Tom Herman, meaning I think I'd rather be his agent, because you just very definitely danced around that, Tom. And I get it out of respect. I know you have to, but I can't imagine that there aren't a lot of off-the-record conversations that involve you, because right now you might be the most prized commodity in college football in terms of coaching.
Is there a question in there?
No, just a statement. It's just an observation. Do you think I'm off base with that?
I don't know. I think each and every job that does come open, they're looking for different things. And I think, some people are looking for regional ties. Some people are looking for an old, experienced guy. Some people are looking for a young up-and-comer. Some are looking for great recruiters. Some are looking for great X's and O's guys, someone defense, someone offense. So I think it's very specific for each and every position that comes open. And, that's, again, kind of the nature of the business is you never know what any of these administrations are looking for when those jobs do come open.
Coach, I think an important question is your expectations around your program and outside your program start to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You've already beaten Oklahoma, the number 3 ranked team in the country. Later on in your schedule, you have Louisville, who is now ascended to number 3 in the country. What's your message to your guys as you take on teams like Texas State and UConn and Tulsa and SMU, UCF? I mean, you got to keep them playing or engaged with the same kind of energy that they had against the top-ranked teams that you already played and the ones that you're going to play.
Well, I think, you remind them, one, of our culture. We have 4 pillars of the program, we call them, and the very first one is 1-0. And And that goes a lot farther. We dive a lot deeper than just being 1-0 each week and not worrying about the previous game or the next game or anything like that.
That's easier said than done sometimes, Coach.
Well, yeah, but you're right. Unless it's ingrained from day one in your program, and you live that culture every day. And so this process started. It would be a nightmare if I had to control the expectations and the chatter and all of the media hype and all of that if the foundation of our culture wasn't laid from day one. And so that part of it I feel great about. And then the second thing, I think, you have to remind our players that, at the end of the day, Oklahoma was much more talented than we were, and Florida State much more talented than we were. And so how did we beat those teams? Well, we played above our talent because of our love and our drive and our physicality and our, just how hard we play. And the reasons that we play so hard is because of the guy next to us. And so if we don't play above our talent, then any of those teams on our schedule are good enough to beat us.
Yeah.
And so we have to play at that level each and every week in order to succeed, because quite frankly, we're not good enough not to. We're not good enough to play really bad and win a football game no matter who we're playing.
Good point.
Coach, well said. Good catching up again. It had been a while, but nice 3-0 start. We'll keep an eye on you Saturday against Texas State, and I know we'll be catching up again down the road. Thank you, Coach.